Thank you, Anne. Good afternoon. Heartily welcome to you all for attending today's workshop entitled The Importance of Evidence for Our Causes under Asia Farm Animal Day activities. I am Khairul Bashar, engaged as Operations and Partnership Manager at Samayu. Samayu is a movement of people and organizations who care about the interconnectedness of animals, people, and our planet, working together to create a just fair world for all. About the topic today, the role of evidence in our causes is really critical to assess, to measure whether we are putting in the right efforts and moving in the right direction. If we want to develop effective approaches and effective interventions and design the most innovative and impactful programs for all the issues that we face in animal rights and animal welfare, it is important to make all our work evidence-based. Let me quickly brief you all about the event. Please note, session will be of 70 to 75 minutes duration, a workshop for NGO members. The workshop will begin with a presentation for 15 minutes by today's key speaker, Dr. Devajyoti Chatterjee. Next 20 minutes will be used for discussion in break rooms activities. The attendees will be divided into 3 groups and will be given 3 topics for internal discussion. Now, each group will present the key findings and shall be allotted 5-minute time for each, total 15 minutes per section. The key speaker will discuss and make remarks on the findings in next 15 minutes. At the end, I'll take just 5 minutes to conclude the session with an overall summary of what we have discussed. In case of any technical issue, please give us a signal in the chat. We will try to help you resolve it quickly. Let me introduce today's speaker, Dr. Devajyoti Chatterjee, Research Lead at Samayu. Dr. Chatterjee, a zoologist turned ecological entomologist, has obtained his doctoral from Forest Research Institute, Dehradun, India. He has been actively engaged in research programs on ecological and agriculture entomology in various premier universities and research institutions of India since last 11 years. His momentous research work includes studying diverse dimensions of insect-plant relationship in the mangroves ecosystem and Western Ghat forest of India. Sustainable management of termites in agriculture involving indigenous and frontier technologies and working on various aspects of plant quarantine. He is a passionate traveler and avid animal lover. Over to you, Devajyoti.
Thank you, Khairul, and a very good afternoon to all participants in today's workshop session entitled The Importance of Evidence for Our Causes. So I'd like to share my screen now. Is my screen visible?
Yes, we can see it.
Fine, let us begin. So today, on the program series of programs of Asia for Animal Coalition organized this Asia Farm Animal Day, we are here in this workshop, NGO capacity building workshop session entitled The Importance of Evidence for Our Causes. I am Dr. Devajyoti Chatterjee, working as research lead at Samayu. So let us begin with a few words about, as we all know, about the vast and extensive work of Asia for Animal Coalition. So it's a confederation of 25 renowned animal welfare organizations working for animal well-being and covering diverse aspects, including the farm animals, wildlife, then companion animals, and the other aspects also, like appealing to the policymakers for animal well-being. And it's a strong voice opposing the animal cruelty across Asia, not only in Asia, across the world. It's having its own network to fight for the animal well-being and a collective strength for its members to convey the appeals to the policymakers for animal rights. A very good and great venture of this Asia for Animals Coalition is the Asia Farm Animal Day, which is 10th October, wherein we stand unitedly for the cause of farm animal well-being, their right of dignified living, and protecting their sentience. And also the aim of this event is to develop the intersectional approach connecting people and NGO for the global visibility of this issue. Let me introduce our organization, Samayu. We are a lead in food research, food system research in India and the farm animal well-being. We are a movement of people and organizations who care about the interconnectedness of animal, people, and our planet. So working together to create a just fair world for all. Our food system research intervenes in various stratum of plant-forwarded options in substituting the animal protein, and we are working very keenly to have a intersectional, to build an intersectional platform to address various issues like One Health, like farm animal well-being, like alternative livelihood in the animal agricultural sector, and so on. So how do we change, how do we approach towards changing the narratives? We focus on the challenges at the intersection of existing organizational and disciplinary boundaries. We approach with a holistic mindset to change towards system change. And most significantly, we bring together various opinions to work on one platform under one clause involving students, experts, activists, consumers, philanthropists, and many more. Coming to the perspective of today's workshop. So the importance of evidence for our causes. The first question which comes in our mind, that why do NGOs require to focus on evidence-based functioning? To approach this topic, first we need to know what's the exact aim of an NGO. That is to bring the changes. And to bring the changes, we need to approach the matter with a very focused way, so that our resources and time has been used with maximum efficiency. So the planning and accurate mapping of the implementation routes, involvement of various stakeholders from different stratum of society for an inclusive approach to resolve an issue, and foremost, the measuring changes that is brought through the intervention. These are the pillars of NGO functioning. So where we really require to think why we need the evidence-backed activity. So evidence-based planning and implementation, why it is crucial element for effective functioning of NGOs. Say, for example, we are trying to implement some of our intervention. So first we should know where from we should start. What's the starting point? So for that, we need to have a baseline data. We need to generate a baseline data for the need assessment. Where are the need areas? Where from we will start to make the change? Then how to make the change? Programming implementation schedule with proper researched methodology, so that again to use our resource and time with maximum efficiency to reach our goal. Once we start our journey of implementation, interim progress monitoring is very much essential to see whether we are on correct track or not, or if there is any need of incorporation of corrective actions. And finally, the end-line monitoring on completion of the implementation plan to see whether we have completed our venture, or we need to extend our plan, we need to extend the timeline to reach the goal with proper efficiency. And finally, the impact assessment, which gives us the exact mapping of reaching our final goal. Now, so far we talked about our journey, but in this journey, how to measure the changes? Which all things will be the acting as the evidence markers? Beyond doubt, that is a strong research and data collection in support of our all activities. These can be perspective-wise, this can be implementation-wise, as per the case may be, or also intersection and both involving in a same program. So We can reach this through qualitative research or in quantitative research or both together. How can we go ahead with this? Let us again have an example. Say, for example, we are trying to implement some plan on fish welfare in aquaculture sector. So there we have, other than fishes, we have other components like fishermen, like the market consumers, like the market system, then environment, and so on. So we can approach it perspective wise, like in qualitative research. We can go ahead with the one-on-one interview with the stakeholders like fishermen, like consumers, and other people involved in this system to know the system, to monitor their involvement, and thereby ensuring the final goal towards how can we use them in fish welfare. Case study research, like if we have a specific case study, so a specific area for research or specific particular subject or location, so we can have a case study research. Record keeping is an inevitable matter in qualitative research and data generation, because that is the main factor which gives us the sufficient evidence for our intervention. Process of observation, including field observation, including observation of the components, observation of generated data, are again of immense importance in this aspect. Ethnographic research in qualitative research sector also plays a key role in generating the evidence where we can get involved with the communities. We can study their features and how they are using the resources. Accordingly, we can plan how to bring the changes to ensure the end goal, that is fish welfare. And also the focus group discussion, beyond doubt, it is the most important, where we have the opinion from different people of different backgrounds who are associated with this one goal. So now shifting to quantitative research. Here we can go ahead with the first identifying the gaps, then chalking out the objectives, accordingly formulating the methodologies based on the strong research and background study, then implementing the research plan based on sometimes an experimental research, sometimes in survey research, and then generating the data. And after that, analyzing the data with the fact to see whether we have achieved the objective or not, and accordingly proceeding. So the information and communication technology materials play great role in this evidence making for the interventions. The audiovisual modules of data collection, they play a pivotal role. And then the qualitative data, transcribing to the numeric form and maintaining a database, ensures a strong evidence in support of our intervention as a guide and to help us leading towards our goal. Intersectional approach for inclusive effort, that is bringing different schools of opinion to function under one cause. How does it make its way in our NGO functioning? As we know, we have the world is recovering from the COVID-19 situation. So this has clearly made the approaching the problem toward from an intersectional approach. And after COVID-19, the One Health aspect has become of immense importance of nowadays research, where we again involve stakeholders from various aspects like animal health, like human health, environmental perspectives, other stakeholders from various backgrounds to work on a common approved plan, ensuring the holistic gain of this One Health to stop the chance of other pandemic. So arranging here how does it go for our evidence making, that is arranging group events and recording the data of such interventions, where we can map the interventions of different communities, the different stakeholders, and to see how best we can use them for our common goal, and organizing periodical events for exchange of progress parameters that again help us to see how accurately we are proceeding towards our goal, that is ensuring the so for example, here we are talking about One Health. So to ensuring the overall what to say perspective of achieving the One Health to protect our environment, the human population, and our animals. Monitoring, evaluation, and learning together, MEL, are the finishing line for generating the concrete evidence. When we start implementation of our implementation program of our interventions, we go to field, we implement our methodologies, our researches, we get the findings, and now continuous monitoring and evaluation of that data and learning from them guides us to see how we are proceeding towards the goal, that is changing the narrative or changing the situation. So this acts as basic guide to track the changes, and also again it indicates for taking corrective actions, and contextual adjustments reflects the change in scenario. So let us also have an example here. If we are planning for a vaccination program of canine population in our area, so we need to generate the basic data. What's the situation? What is the canine population there? Then we can check out our research methodology of implementation based on the ground research and available data to see how can we plan it across the time, and what all could be included in the plan. So what sort of vaccines we can use, and then how can we keep the animals safe after vaccination and then release them to the environment, and also if that is again having any impact on the associated inhabitants. So and finally we measure the goal, we measure the baseline based on the our results. We go ahead with the final survey, that is the end-line survey, and we go for impact assessment to see whether our plan is a success or we need to have some more intervention. So coming to the summarizing this entire topic, we can focus on these points. That's the evidence-based interventions is most inevitable in NGO functioning. Proper planning, execution with proper research plan and impact assessment are the major standpoints in effective NGO functioning, which could be really supported by proper evidencing to back the plan, to support the plan, whether we are going towards correct pathway and reaching our goal. Collection of adequate data using well-researched methodologies and analyzing, thereby arriving at stated goal, which is the main theme of this entire intervention. Then, of course, coming to the intersectional approach, that is including people from various sectors for a common goal, which is again necessary for this evidence backing, because we need to know whether the notions of whether the intervention and participation from all these sectors are properly framed towards a common goal or not. And finally, the success of intervention involves evidence-backed monitoring and evaluation. So when we start our intervention, when we go ahead with this, and when we come to the end point in this entire course, we need to be focused on a proper monitoring and evaluation, which gives us the signals that yes, we are reaching towards the goal, or we need to have to do some more work in this thing for corrective action, or we need to extend our plan. So this can act as the true signal post for measuring the changes in the narratives. With this, I thank you all for patiently hearing me, and I thank AFA Coalition for giving me this opportunity to share my views with you in this
Hello. Thank you, Dr. Devjyoti, for this research and an insightful presentation on the importance of evidence in our causes. Now we will move to the next session where all the attendees will be divided into three breakout room sessions. Each group is requested to select a lead among them who will be presenting the key findings. I would like to request Dr. Devjyoti to please share the three topics for the breakout room. Over to you, Devjyoti.
Thank you, Khairul. I'm sharing my screen once again. So here we go with our today's topics of discussion, group discussion. For group one, I request you all to kindly note down the topics. For group one, it is role of research in NGO operation. Here are some clues. What kind of research can help NGO functioning? Focus on data collection for evidence building and help drawn from research to establish the NGO function. For group two, the topics are socio-scientific approaches in intersectional program implementation. Some clues. How does social approach help in intersectional work? Involvement of scientific approaches, making the implementation more goal-oriented, and involvement of different ideas under one cause makes the intervention true intersectional. For group three, the topic is evidence-based intervention, step towards success for changing the narrative. The clues are generating baseline data, showing the need area to be focused, periodic monitoring and implementation, and inline survey and impact assessment for strengthening the claim for changing narratives. So with this, I request the groups to proceed for a group discussion, which is a 15 minutes timeline. After that, we will be back here to have to hear the findings from each group, and we'll have a discussion. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Chatterjee. And I will be dividing all participants into groups now. And in a moment, you'll be divided into break rooms. And you will follow the three topics set out by Dr. Chatterjee for discussions. And after 20 minutes, we'll come back and we'll present the final group findings. It doesn't have to be like a presentation. It's more like what we have found during our discussion so far. Okay.
Just a request, should I stop sharing the screen? Have the groups noted the topics?
Have everybody noted the topics? You could take a picture of the screen, then we could and just a few
I have
words.
a screenshot that I
yeah.
can share. I have a screenshot that I can share if anyone needs it.
Yes. Okay. Well, please follow the number on your room for the topics. So there'll be room 1, topic 1, room 2, topic 2, and room 3, topic 3. And I'll open the room now. And you'll be joining with us as well, Dr. Chatterjee and Kairon. We'll allow a few more minutes to wait for the other participants to join us back in the main room.
Sure.
In the meantime, I would support you with resolving the technical issues for the speakers.
Recorded.
So I hope everyone has been back from this breakout rooms.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So okay. So after completing the group discussions, we will now proceed to hear the key findings from each group. The leader from each group will have 5 minutes to present their key findings on this topic. We will begin with group 1. I request the lead from group 1 to please present his findings.
Okay, please can I invite the leader of group 1 to present your conclusions for the topic of role of research in NGO operations?
Yeah, that would be Renu from group 1.
Hi, thank you all. Shall I start?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we explored the role of research in NGO functioning. So there was this common theme that was coming up that whether it's qualitative and quantitative research, a discussion, we realized that both the researches forms qualitative as well as quantitative is important for any NGO's functioning. And then there were thoughts about how we can start with the qualitative research and do the literature survey, understanding the existing literature and the gaps that are there in the literature, so to find the questions that we need to address through our functions. And similarly, quantitative research is also equally important because ultimately we need to understand the current status. For that, we can do quantitative research. Data analysis was mentioned, and how important it is for any quantitative research and coming to solution and to make strategies for the solution that we need for the problems that we have at hand. So that's really important to have data analysis, a very strong component. Then we also discussed about policies and protocols. This is for the methodology part. How before we can begin any studies, there should be proper policies and protocols at hand. We can adapt these protocols from existing literature, and if we do not have those similar research happening, we can lay down policies and protocols for the question at hand. And these policies and protocol can also be integrated into field programs. And we also talked about how we should there were two components, how the people involved during the research, the human resources, they should be contributed, credited, and we can have like co-ownership with them. And if need to also highlight the people who have participated in the study. For example, if we talk about field study, there should be proper ethical consideration, and also to keep in mind about the confidentiality part. And if we can this should be thoroughly discussed, that this sort of information can be revealed through papers and all. So we also realize that as much as the research is important, the communication of research is equally important, and the findings, the preliminary findings from the data that is emerging from the field research can be presented through various different conferences, and the full-fledged studies the findings that we get out of these research-based work can also be presented in manuscripts, and all the authors, the people involved in the study can be, accredited proper authorship. So we touch upon these few points about how policies and protocols are important, and how the authorships and accreditation of the people involved, and why qualitative and quantitative research are equally important for any NGO's functioning. So that's the summary of the discussion. Any questions?
Yeah, please feel free to ask any question to Renu. I think my first question would be, from your own experience and opinions, what kinds of pitfalls that NGOs would normally encounter while doing research?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I don't really have my personal experience in this field, but I can say that for any NGO, there should be a proper research team that is involved to the idea of the structuring of the research. I feel that it is really important to understand the kind of clearances that is required, because this should happen before the study begins. All the ethical clearances, and the methodologies that are going to be utilized, and if we talk about data analysis, the statistical the softwares and the analysis that we need to do. I mean, this should also be first have it ready at hand, and then can also be be reviewed and discussed with research people from research field. And then because I feel that it's really important for NGOs to have a very strong research component. Without that, it'd be really hard. Again, the challenges could be about the authenticity of the research. To have the authenticity angle, I think sometimes these can be pitfalls where the data has to be authentic and credited, and that's why it is really important to follow a proper guidelines and structure for conducting any research from the NGO settings.
Yes, thank you for your answer.
Thank you.
And another questions for the first group, since we as a third group were a little bit confused with the questions, and we have a little background in research. So I was wondering if how do you feel about using secondary data sources instead of using your primary data for for your campaigns? Are they reliable?
That's a very good question. I think secondary data is a really good point to start with. But in my opinion, I think it is really important for any NGO to have their primary data, to have that authenticity factor. But for campaigning, I think it's a great start to start with the existing secondary data, and only from the credit sources. And yeah, I think we can start with the secondary data, but always back it up with the primary data that we as an NGO generate.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
can I add a point there? Would that be okay, Renu?
Yes.
For group one?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so actually we did discuss this in a way, very briefly we touched upon this in our discussions, and we were talking about what happens when you go to policymakers, right? So our experience in the NGO sector has been that, especially when you go with issues that policymakers would rather not look at, because this is animals and they are unfortunately not very on top of everybody's list of primary concerns, right, in terms of what they need to deal with. So when you go to them and then you present secondary data, the problem will be that most likely that data is dated. It is not very recent. And therefore, primary data collection gives the recency effect, which really, then can help persuade that policymaker to take action, because this is relevant right now in this specific context. So from that perspective, also from a timing perspective, and to make sure that the policymaker gets influenced, and our research is when I say influence, Of course, the recency factor is also is a bias in research. But if the research is done properly with the right operational research protocols and guidelines in place, like Renu explained earlier, and you also have primary data to back it up, then I think that would make our case way more stronger, and the research authenticity goes up, as she was just saying before.
Yeah, I totally second what Manisha just said. It is really important. The data has to be recent, because if we talk about livestock and it can change, and especially the climate, these are factors that can definitely influence your findings, and it's really important to have current data. But I feel it's a good starting point to use that existing literature. Do the background survey, identify the problems, take it out. And I know the stakeholders will not agree with only the secondary data, but you can make a point and then start working on your research problems and generate your own primary data and go with that data. So, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Due to some time constraints, shall we move on to the second group's finding?
Sure, thank you.
Zhuang, would you like to take it forward?
Yes. Hi, everyone. So I will represent the group 2 for speaking briefly about our findings on social scientific approach in intersectional program implementation. So during our discussion that we agreed to take an example to show the findings that show how we understand the topics. So here we take the example of encouraging the community to go vegan. So here we have 3 goals, in other words, 3 sections that we determine, including health, compassion for animals, and environment, that the veganism affect these 3 goals. From that, then we for the 3 goals that we see that they have strong connection with each other, and therefore if we do the social scientific approach by researching on many people using qualitative research or quantitative research is all right, but by approaching the communities, that we can find more ideas to do the programs for all the sections, and also to understand them better, because it's different in each country, let alone each locality people. So by researching the community all the locality, we can understand them better, and then from that we can evaluate assessing the situation that we have there, to give out the plans or ideas to implement the given program. From approaching the society, we can also collect crucial data to help us with the implementation of the program, or additional information to our program that we have ideas before to implement it. From the data we gathered from the society or the community, we can we will know the proper way to do the program better. I'm sorry. So when we have the data and we make it a proper research, we'll have scientific based information from that, and we can use the information to convince the community, and on the other hand, that information also can help the people to comprehend the situation, and then from that they can change their mind, although it's pretty much depend on the way they think. But so from the the useful information that we collect from the society. We can use that to like create the plan like proper or suitable to that community, to make it like to make us do the program the most effectively as possible. And I suppose that's all I want to say. But I wonder if my roommate has something to add. Srita or Apana, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think maybe we can also just say that seeking support from a plant-based nutritionist, because his findings, his research, all of that will give a scientific bent to the whole approach. And that is what we seek, right? And when we speak of involving different ideas under on this particular thing of promoting veganism, we might also look at plant-based alternatives to existing food, right, that people generally consume. So making easy access to plant-based alternatives would be the way forward. So yeah, that would be from my side. Thank you.
Okay. So everyone, I just want to inform you that just because of some technical issues, Dr. Beauty has not able to join back to us, and he asked to conclude that summary. So I was just listening all the conclusion from both of the groups. It was nice hearing that, yeah, we have to be very careful about our data, because it is very important for our, as in for the causes we are dealing with. So the data as an evidence will always be helpful to show the results, show the journey, and the in the assessment and the measure, as I mentioned in the earlier. It will really be helpful for us to in the complete journey of defining our move. So so yeah, like the importance of evidence of our causes help in every step in our way to achieve our goals. Whether we are just doing this through quantitative or qualitative research, because in both the way, yeah, we can just uh, find our relevant results and relevant measurements to assess the progress of our causes. So from the beginning, during the process of the implementation, and at the end of it as well, when we get to the outcome. Throughout all these stages, evidence-based intervention help us to ensure that we are moving in the right direction, and continuously adding new information along with evaluating results with support will support us to reach the final goal. So here, like summarizing the findings of today's workshop, thank you all for your active participation, which made this event truly interactive. We appreciate your being with us today. We encourage you to connect with us on social media. Please reach us with your queries, ideas, and comments through our social media platform and email. Wish you all have a very nice day. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Karen, for the
very much.
wonderful conclusion to the sessions. And thank you everybody for participating in this session and contributing to the discussions. We're sorry for the technical issues we encountered for as regard the speaker for today. I hope you had a useful time with these sessions, and see you with the other sessions that is coming up in the next few days.
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.